No one has ever escaped ADX Florence, the so-called Alcatraz of the Rockies. Built for terrorists, spies, and the most violent gang leaders, it's a fortress carved into the Colorado desert. But what if someone tried? What if behind those concrete walls and 2,400 remote-controlled steel doors, a plan was quietly taking shape? Tonight, you'll follow a story of obsession, cunning, and the impossible dream of breaking free from the most secure prison on Earth. ADX. Florence sits on a barren plain 35 miles south of Colorado Springs. From above, it looks like an X carved into the desert, hence its nickname. The prison houses just under 500 men, each confined 23 hours a day to a concrete cell no bigger than a parking space. Triple-layer fencing, razor wire, seismic sensors, and remote-controlled doors create a web of security so tight it's said even a bird couldn't escape unnoticed. Inmates call it the clean version of hell. Guards call it the safest place on Earth. Yet within its walls, rumors whisper of men who've spent years studying patterns, timing footsteps, and dreaming of freedom. Plans spoken only in coded glances and scraps of paper flushed down stainless steel toilets. Among the nameless faces inside is Rafael Cortez, a former cartel logistics mastermind serving life without parole. Before his arrest, he specialized in moving tons of contraband undetected across borders. Now he moves only from cell to recreation cage. But his mind keeps moving. Over years, Rafael memorizes every creak, every routine, every flaw, tiny anomalies invisible to guards. Using a stolen pencil stub and memory alone, he sketches a mental blueprint of ADX on the back of legal mail, then dissolves it in water after each session. To other inmates, he's just another lifer pacing like a caged panther. To himself, he's a mapmaker charting the impossible. Every fortress, he mutters to the stainless steel sink at night, has a door, even if it's hidden. Communication at ADX is nearly impossible. Cells are soundproofed, visits take place behind glass. But human ingenuity thrives under pressure. Through vent shafts and plumbing pipes, a secret network emerges, coded knocks, shared through air ducts. Rafael learns to speak with his neighbor, a disgraced ex-engineer named Miles Hart, who once helped design high-security locks for government facilities. Miles is bitter, brilliant, and broken. Over months of muffled conversations and cryptic tap codes, the two men exchange knowledge. Rafael's logistics for Miles's technical expertise. They never meet face-to-face. They don't even know each other's real names. But a plan begins to form like a ghost blueprint in the dark, fueled by their shared obsession. For the first time in years, both men feel a pulse of adrenaline stronger than any contraband, hope. Every day at ADX follows a clockwork routine. At 7:05 a.m., doors unlock for breakfast trays. At 11:30 a.m., the rec cage is open. At 3 o'clock p.m., guards switch shifts. Rafael and Miles learn the rhythm like musicians reading sheet music. Through the vent system, they share observations. Who walks where? Which cameras swivel slower than others? Which guards linger on phones at the end of shifts? They chart blind spots not on paper, but in memory, repeating them silently at night like prayers. Their plan isn't to run through open gates. It's to slip through cracks no one believes exist. The risk of discovery is constant. A wrong knock, a curious guard, a random cell search. Yet each day the pattern grows clearer, like invisible ink revealing itself under heat. Tools are contraband, but contraband at ADX takes strange forms. Miles instructs Rafael to save the foil seals from his instant coffee packets. The thin metal, folded and sharpened over weeks, becomes a shim. A discarded toothbrush handle is shaved into a probe. Threads from socks twisted into rope, salt packets used to corrode metal. Nothing is wasted. Each piece, harmless alone, when combined becomes part of a silent arsenal. They hide items in legal envelopes or flush them mid-search, then retrieve replacements. Never hoard, always rebuild. Miles taps through the vent. Patience becomes their main weapon. They're not planning a Hollywood break with explosions and car chases. They're planning something quieter. A disappearance so subtle it feels like a magic trick. There's no digging at ADX. Floors are concrete atop sensors. But Miles recalls an old service corridor beneath one wing, sealed after construction but still accessible through a maintenance hatch disguised as an air return vent. Whether it still exists, neither man knows. Through tap codes, Miles describes the hatch's approximate location. Raphael memorizes every detail. They call it the Ghost Corridor. Reaching it would require bypassing two doors, one electronic and one mechanical, and timing their movements between guard patrols measured to the second. Even then, the corridor might lead nowhere but another locked gate. Yet in the minds of two lifers, it's not a dead end. It's a lifeline. If it's bricked up, Miles taps, we improvise. Raphael's reply is a single knock. Agreement. Escape practice at ADX is like acting without a stage. In his cell, Raphael rehearses motions silently, reaching, unscrewing, folding. He times himself by the sweep of the second hand on the wall clock visible through the slot when meals arrive. He even simulates obstacles, laying a towel on the floor to mimic the vent panel, us, in his own body weight as resistance. Miles does the same 2 cells away, guided only by Raphael's progress reports. They train their minds as much as their muscles, visualizing each step until it feels automatic. If anything goes wrong, they've agreed. Abort immediately, destroy evidence, wait months before trying again. The discipline is monastic. The stakes are final. They know that if caught, they'll lose what little freedom they have. No visits, no mail, maybe a transfer to an even harsher wing. Partnership in ADX is a paradox. Betrayal is a survival instinct here. Informants are rewarded. Raphael and Miles have never seen each other, yet they're risking everything on the other's silence. To test loyalty, Miles deliberately feeds Raphael a false detail, an incorrect shift change time. Raphael repeats it back without question. 2 days later, Miles reveals the ruse. You passed, he taps. Trust, once a fragile wire, becomes a rope. They begin exchanging personal truths, names, fragments of past lives, regrets. Raphael confesses his family believes he's dead. Miles admits he designed a lock now used to cage himself. The irony binds them tighter than any gang oath. For the first time, escape feels less like fantasy and more like a joint destiny. But they also know, the closer they get, the more dangerous every breath becomes. One winter morning, a routine maintenance notice appears on the unit bulletin. HVAC technicians will inspect air return vents the following week. Miles recognizes the name of the contractor, the same company he once consulted for. Through the vent, he taps. This is our window. Raphael's pulse quickens. The inspection will require guards to unlock the corridor hatch for the workers. For a brief moment, a secure barrier will be open under less than usual watch. It's not an escape route yet, but it's the first real, documented crack in a system built to be flawless. For days they study the posted schedule, memorize the technicians' arrival times, and rehearse again. It's now or never. On inspection day, Raphael watches through the slot as uniformed techs roll carts of filters and tools down the hall. Doors clank. Keys jingle. Guards mutter. For a heartbeat, the air return panel is off, the dark mouth of the ghost corridor visible. Raphael's body tenses. Miles taps once, the agreed signal to stand by. But then a guard shifts unexpectedly, blocking line of sight, chatting on his radio. The panel goes back on. The moment passes. Their opportunity is gone before it begins. In the cell's silence afterward, Raphael feels a strange calm. He's tasted possibility. Miles taps a single word. Soon. After the failed window, searches increase. Cells are tossed. Contraband confiscated. Someone, somewhere, may have noticed a pattern. Raphael and Miles retreat into caution, scrubbing every trace of their plan. The vent conversations slow to a trickle. Each man wonders privately if the other will break under pressure. Nights stretch long and sleepless. Yet neither informs, neither withdraws completely. Instead, they begin refining their plan again, slower and deeper underground, accepting that patience may mean years. The dream of escape turns from adrenaline to discipline, a long game played in shadows. Months turn into years. Raphael's hair grays. Miles's hands tremble from age. The ghost corridor remains sealed. Guards rotate. New tech upgrades tighten security further. What began as a spark of hope becomes a burden. an obsession that keeps them alive, but also keeps them chained. In whispered taps, they debate whether freedom is even possible anymore, or if the plan itself was their only escape. "We built a tunnel in our minds," Miles confesses. Raphael knocks twice, meaning yes. On a rare, clear morning, Raphael steps into his recreation cage and looks at the mountains beyond the razor wire. Blue peaks rising out of desert. He realizes this view, this sliver of side, key, is all the freedom he may ever hold. Miles has stopped tapping through the vent. His health failing, he's been moved to the medical wing. The plan remains unspoken but unfinished, like a blueprint rolled up and forgotten. No one has ever escaped ADX Florence. Raphael closes his eyes and whispers to himself, "But we tried." In that moment, the impossible dream doesn't die. It becomes legend, a ghost story passed cell to cell about two men who almost found the door. Inside ADX Florence, hope can be as dangerous as contraband. Raphael and Miles never broke the walls, but they cracked the myth of absolute control. Their story is a reminder. Even in the most secure prison on Earth, the human mind reaches for freedom. If you found this story as gripping as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. More true crime documentaries are on the way.